In terms of staffing the cabinet, he certainly is taking the counsel of many people. Each of the positions have several different contenders at the very least that he is vetting and talking about very seriously. I think for Donald Trump, the criteria are very simple. Yes, there are people who are loyal, but not just to him, to his vision, his 100-day plan.
All right, that was Trump's senior advisor, Kellyanne Conway, earlier today talking about staffing the new incoming Trump administration. Now, today, President-elect Trump, he met with Vice President-elect Mike Pence to talk about filling key cabinet and senior White House positions. Fox News can now confirm that Laura Ingraham's name is, in fact, being floated as a press secretary. Joining us now, editor-in-chief, Life Zet, and Fox News contributor, and nationally syndicated radio host. Listen, I think you'd be great at it. That's my honest answer. I think you'd be I would never in a million years have the patience to deal with those idiots every single day. Good luck if you take it.
On.
I would not have the patience.
Why don't you do it?
No, I'm under. No,
Sean,
no, thank you.
Can't we do something where, like, I'll go one day, you'll go the next. I'll go one day, you'll go the next.
Maybe we can co-host from there. We'll do a show. How about this? If you do become press secretary, let me co-press secretary for a day with you. It's sort of like bring your BFF to work day, you know?
Okay, no problem. Bring my old friend to work day. I'd love that. I think the country would love it. I can tell you, Sean, the narrative is like so far ahead of where things really are.
Yeah.
But it's cool to be mentioned. I love what I do. You know, you and I are so privileged and blessed to be doing what we do. I just love talking to the American people every day. That's no exaggeration. It doesn't mean like every day radio is easy. It's not. But it is such a, I mean, it's just a blessing. It's a privilege. So I love my life. I love what I do. It's nice to have your name thrown in the ring. But there are so many great people that they're considering, not just for this position, but for a lot of positions. And a lot of people who are my friends. And I'm like, you know, we'll see what happens. But I like what I do right now, to tell you the truth.
You said you're honored to be under consideration. If I had to press you a little bit, and I'm not pressing you, you're a friend, I'm not going to do that. If you had to make a decision now and you were offered the opportunity, would you do it?
I mean, I'd obviously want to talk to, Steve Bannon and Kellyanne and President-elect Trump and just, talk it through. I'm not going to, negotiate on the air here, but I just want to talk it through and see exactly what they, what it would entail. It's different for every administration. The press secretary position in the Reagan administration, and I worked in the Reagan administration in the second term, was different from the way it is now. The communications position is interesting in a lot of ways as well. I used to be a speechwriter, so that oversees the speechwriting operation, and press is just really dealing with the press and the press messaging. So it changes, though. There are different parameters for these jobs.
I think you do a great job. And certainly your background doing what you do here and your background in talk radio, look, most people don't realize you got to be on your feet for 3 hours a day, every day.
Yeah.
It is more difficult than I think the average person knows, but it also would be, I think, it would perfectly prepare you for that kind of task. The problem is we now learned in this election season that journalism isn't dead. It's dead and buried, and it's beyond not giving information to the American people or an informational crisis. There's outright colluding that we discovered between the media, Politico, the New York Times, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC. All these media outlets were colluding with Hillary Clinton's campaign, feeding questions before debates, asking for questions from the DNC that they can ask Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Carly Fiorina. I don't know. I'd have a very hard time being in the room with those people every day, knowing that they have that institutional bias. And there might be some good journalists in there, but very few.
I think there's a lot to be answered for in this election cycle. I think the press has to answer for getting a lot of it wrong. And without a doubt, every survey, it's not conservative surveys, but every survey on press bias indicates that an overwhelming majority of Americans believe it's slanted, and it was slanted toward Hillary. So if you're a journalist and this is your job, just like politicians, have credibility problems right now. So to build back your credibility, if you're interested in doing that at all, with the people who pay the bills, which are the people who buy the products that are advertised on your news programs, I think they have to give Donald Trump a fair shot. I mean, they're supposed to act as a check on the administration, too, for sure. But they have to be fair about it. And I think that's what most people are asking for, and that's what most people should expect from the press. And it's a difficult line sometimes for them to walk, Sean. But if they're going to be in that business, then do that job. If you want to be in a commentator job, then you can do kind of what we do. But if you're going to be a journalist, be a journalist,
yeah,
and do it fairly. And you can be tough, but fair. And I think if people are tough but fair, I think of people like Tim Russert, David Brinkley.
He was a special. He was really special. Yeah. He's in a category of his own, and we could use more people like him in journalism. I bet he would be pretty disgusted. I knew him fairly well. You knew him well. I don't think he would like what has been discovered this election season.
Yeah, and I think of people like Brit Hume. Remember when Brit was White House correspondent over at ABC?
He was tough.
And even Tom. Right, and even Tom Brokaw, when he was on the Today Show all those years ago, he's a Democrat. He's probably fairly liberal. But he played it pretty straight. You go back and look at the old election coverage from 1980, as I do, because I'm a total, political geek. I watched the entire 1980 election coverage, and it was NBC's election coverage. It is fascinating to watch how straight they really played it.
Wow.
And just calling states, this is what's happening. And that's changed. It's a lot more commentary interjected. And I think that's to the detriment of a lot of good work that the press can do. So
listen, as
I
long
want to be optimistic.
If they would delineate what they do, don't tell us you're being a journalist and you're a talk show host like we are. Don't pretend to be something you're not. And that's what was exposed here. And the very people that are so critical of the fact that we do have opinions, but we're honest with our audience, are the very people that were bigger advocates than anybody ever really knew. I think that's where the corruption of media comes in.
And I think there are a lot of websites that will try to come off as news organizations when they're not. They're platforms for more commentary and analysis. That's fine if that's what you are, but just don't pretend that you're the modern day reporter on the beat, and you're just trying to get at the truth. What you're trying to do is you're trying to confirm your predisposed opinion to think that, whether it's Trump's terrible or Steve Bannon's this or Kellyanne's that. It's just transparent. And I think what we learned from this election more than anything, Sean, is that the American people are on to all of this, and they want better from all of us. And it's up to all of us, I think, and whether you're in government or in journalism or even doing what we do it as best as you can and try to be straight about it.
All right. Well, good luck, and whatever your decision is, I know you'll do a good job. Thanks, Laura.